That is a ridiculous question, and I
Yes or no?
No.
I will
sorry, Mr.
I will
Chairman,
take
but
that as a yes.
I am not going to respond to that kind of personal attack, which is not a question.
From the very beginning, it's clear what's happening here. This isn't a fair discussion. It's a staged attack. We're watching an experienced diplomat, a man who has served this nation for decades under many presidents, being targeted in a public smear campaign. The Congresswoman questioning him seems more focused on creating viral clips than doing real work. This kind of behavior is exactly what's wrong with politics today. It's no longer about truth or progress. It's about embarrassing your opponents. It's not about solving problems, it's about putting on a show. We'll watch the full exchange and then break down why this type of political drama is so unprofessional and harmful to the country. If you're tired of seeing these political games, hit the like button and subscribe for more honest analysis.
Mr. Adams, in 1991, you pleaded guilty to 2 counts of withholding information from Congress regarding your involvement in the Iran-Contra affair, for which you were later pardoned by President George H.W. Bush. I fail to understand why members of this committee or the American people should find any testimony that you give today to be truthful.
If I can respond to that.
It wasn't a question.
That
was not a question. That was I reserve the right to my time.
It is not right.
That was not a question.
Committee can attack
on February
a witness
8th,
who is not permitted to reply.
That was not a question. Thank you for your participation. On February 8th, 1982, you testified before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee about U.S. policy in El Salvador. In that hearing, you dismissed as communist propaganda report about the massacre of El Mozote, in which more than 800 civilians, including children as young as 2 years old, were brutally murdered by U.S.-trained troops. During that massacre, some of those troops bragged about raping a 12-year-old girl before they killed them. Girls before they killed them. You later said that the U.S. policy in El Salvador was a fabulous achievement. Yes or no, do you still think so?
From the day that President Duarte was elected in a free election to this day, El Salvador has been a democracy. That's a fabulous achievement.
Yes or no, do you think that massacre was a fabulous achievement that happened under our watch?
That is a ridiculous question, and
yes or no?
No.
I will take that as a yes.
I am not going to respond to that kind of personal attack, which is not a question.
Yes or no, would you support an armed faction within Venezuela that engages in war crimes, crimes against humanity or genocide, if you believe they were serving U.S. interest, as you did in Guatemala, El Salvador, and Nicaragua?
I am not going to respond to that question. I'm sorry. I don't think this entire line of questioning is meant to be real questions, and so I will not reply.
Whether under your watch, a genocide will take place, and you will look the other way because American interests were being upheld, is a fair question, because the American people want to know that anytime we engage a country, that we think about what our actions could be and how we believe our values are being furthered. That is my question. Will you make sure that human rights are not violated and that we uphold international and human rights?
I suppose there is a question in there, and the answer is that the entire thrust of American policy in Venezuela is to support the Venezuelan people's effort to restore democracy to their country. That's our policy.
I don't think anybody disputes that. The question I had for you is that does the interest of the United States include protecting human rights and include protecting people against genocide?
That is always the position of the United States.
Thank you. I yield back my time.
Now that you've seen the full exchange, it's just as bad as it looked at the start. Let's be clear, that wasn't a hearing. It was a performance first. Let's talk about Elliott Abrams. He's a man with decades of experience in foreign policy. Yes, he has a controversial past. He was involved in many tough international decisions and even pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor for which he was pardoned. Ilhan Omar brought this up not to understand the facts, but to attack his character and discredit anything he might say. It's a classic personal attack. She didn't want a real discussion. She wanted to make him look bad. Every time he tried to explain or respond, she cut him off with, "That wasn't a question," or "I reserve my time." She wasn't there to talk. She was there to perform. Her behavior showed clear disrespect. She asked impossible yes or no questions about complex events from decades ago. Questions meant to trap him, not to find truth. Asking, "Do you think that massacre was a fabulous achievement?" is not a fair question. It's a setup. Abrams was right to call it ridiculous. He explained that the fabulous achievement referred to democracy. Surviving in El Salvador, something she ignored completely. This isn't new behavior from Representative Omar. She came to the U.S. as a refugee, received an excellent education, and was elected to Congress, the very example of the American dream. But instead of appreciating that, she often criticizes the same country that gave her these opportunities. In this hearing, rather than focusing on the crisis in Venezuela, she attacked an American diplomat. In many of her other statements, she seems more sympathetic toward America's rivals than toward her own nation. This pattern of comments shows a troubling lack of respect for her role and for the country she serves. What we saw wasn't a normal committee hearing. It was an example of someone using public office as a stage for activism instead of real governance. Abrams came prepared to discuss serious issues, but was met with hostility and immaturity. The American people, especially her district in Minnesota, deserve a representative who is serious, professional, and grateful to serve this great nation. Sadly, Ilhan Omar has repeatedly shown she is not that person.